Happy Monday, everyone. I'm enjoying the sunlight, ready to make some art. We've got Maria that will be joining us shortly, and we're going to do kind of a fun little making project with some paper, some seeds, a little bit of kind of some celebration of spring. So, friendly reminder for you, my name is Sarah Krajewski, your Instagram Live host for all of our Make Art With Me Mondays. And just a reminder for you, if you are going to make something with us today or want to save it and share with us after the fact, then go ahead and tag the Art of Ed and Maria so that we can see what y'all have been working on, because our goal is to try to encourage creativity so that we can not only be amazing art educators, but amazing creatives at the same time. So I'm going to get Maria in here and we are going to get She's on her way. I'm not a choir teacher, but it's happening. All right, I think I have everything I need. Let's see if I'm ready once she gets in here. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, friend. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to see you today. We're going to be like making some kind of papery creations. Can you do us the favor of introducing yourself so we can know a little bit more about you before we get started?
Yeah, so I'm an artist here in Madison. I'm originally from Honduras. I've been an artist for a long time, a while. I mean,
Probably forever.
yeah, a long time. But I've been teaching art for the past, I don't know, 4 years to little ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been making paper for like 7 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So that's why I was like, ooh, if I get to do this opportunity, I wanted to do some paper just because that's my favorite
Absolutely.
technique.
And y'all, after this, you should check out Maria's page. I'm going to share a few things from her as well because her paper making artwork is beautiful. It's gorgeous. And I'm excited to learn just a little bit about your process today so we can try a version of it ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, Maria, let's jump in. What do we need to get started making our creations today?
All right. So should I flip the
Yeah, if you want to
camera?
switch down and just tell us what we need, I'll do the same.
Okay, I'm gonna figure this out.
Here we go. I got like a whole bunch of stuff. I have some
Okay.
like optional situations here.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna turn this around. And you can hear me okay? I have my
Yes, it's perfect.
AirPods, so you can't hear my children.
No, we're good.
Okay. Okay, let me turn this a little bit more. You can see. Okay, so what you'll need is some recycled paper. This is obviously not recycled paper.
Just scrap it.
But this is cardstock. What I did pre-cut some like the copy paper that I think they're Astro Brights. I just love those colors. And I cut them ahead of time. But you can also just tear it apart with your hands into like stamp-sized pieces. And so when you tear it apart, you just tear it apart into little pieces that your blender can handle. That's another thing that you will need. It's a blender. So because I'm a paper maker, I have a blender dedicated just for paper making workshops. So I like the Ninja because, to be honest, I have used cheap $20 blenders before, and they lasted me only one workshop with a lot of students because they all wanted to make all sorts of colors, and we burned it just died. Yeah. So I invested in a little more expensive blender that can handle workshops, but you can use any kind of blender as long as it tears the paper apart is fine. I also have a strainer and a bowl. Again, I like to use tools that are dedicated only for paper making because I don't like to mix my food with whatever chemicals are in these things.
I got you.
But if you're at home and you don't have anything else, you can just wash it. It's fine. I don't think you'll die from it. I also have some seeds, and these seeds are really cool because I got them for free from the local library. They we're giving out seeds
What?
to
I
the community.
love
And
that.
so I got all of these from the Madison Public Libraries, and this one I'm going to be using today.
Perfect.
So you need some flower seeds, and if you are really wanting to help butterflies, I suggest you get some milkweeds or other seeds, plants that butterflies love. You can usually buy like butterfly seed mixes at your like hardware store or wherever you get your seeds from. And you also need a cookie cutter. Now, let me tell you about cookie cutters because I have been using these for a while for paper making workshops, but not for the purpose of shaping pulp, which is what we're going to be doing today.
Yes.
And as you can see, maintaining cookie cutters, they're just high maintenance. These metal ones, like they'll just rust if you don't dry them, right? So I prefer things that are not high maintenance, but they work for other paper making workshops where I'm just pulp painting, which is a different technique.
Sure.
But so for forming pulp, I prefer plastic ones because if you're using little hands, it releases from the pulp much better. It's easier for the little hands. Also, these ones have a more intricate design, and so pushing the pulp into these little areas is hard for little fingers. So I like to use equipment that 4-year-olds can use.
I love that.
You know,
it's helpful for everyone.
If 4-year-olds can do it, anyone can
right?
do it.
Especially if like you have no experience with paper making or paper pulping, it's great to have that little check-in. Also, I was just thinking as you were tearing the paper, I was like, "Ooh, I am so gonna do this as like an end of the year activity." I have so much scrap paper. And I feel like prepping for paper making for like next year or end of year projects, that's like the perfect early finisher station.
They can help you. They can help you, tear all of those. I remember doing some workshops and they just keep all of these scraps of papers in these huge bins. And that would be like perfect, right? Like this is what you're going to do for an hour.
Amazing.
And I think kids, I mean, if these kids are having emotional moments, you can just have them tear paper.
Get after it. I love it.
Anyway, so you should have, so for example, for the cardstock, I only needed one 9x12 sheet to make one butterfly, because it's a thicker paper, but with copy paper, I needed like 5. So,
it's different thickness.
Just to give you an idea of the amount of paper that you might need to make one butterfly. Also, the thickness will vary. I have this one was made, my dog got to it, so she half ate and see if she broke it.
She wanted the
But
seeds.
you can see the thickness. This is like a 1/4 inch thickness, and this was made with one sheet of 9x12 cardstock.
Awesome.
That's how
quite
much
thick.
Yes, that's how much it makes. I also made this little heart that I shaped myself, but this is a little thicker. It's like 1/2 inch more like. And again, it was about a little over one sheet of cardstock. But with copy paper, you're going to need more. Any flimsy material like newsprint, junk mail, you're just going to need more material.
Okay,
and what I like to do, I like to have some water because you're not going to blend this without any water. You always need water. With paper making, you use a lot of water. So I'm going to put this paper, and one thing I forgot to mention, if you're using cardstock or thicker paper, you might want to soak it for like maybe, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes ahead of time just to soften the fiber. This one is copy paper, so I'm not going to soften it. I'm just going to add a little bit of water. I'm going to pour it like maybe 2 cups or so of water.
I assume like the more the merrier because you can always squeeze that water out.
Yes, you can. The thing is, if you put too much water though, it's going to really blend it really fine. And you just have to be careful with blending it too fine because you want the pulp to be a thicker consistency. So that's just a little tip. I'm going to move this so you can kind of see the blending process.
Yes, please.
So here's my blender, and I'm going to blend it for like, I don't know, like a minute at the most,
Okay, perfect.
Again, the flimsier the material, the thinner the material, the least amount of time you'll need to blend it. If it's thick cardstock, maybe a little bit more.
Okay, so I don't know if we'll be able to hear you when it's, oh, we can kind of hear you. You have a quiet ninja. It's pretty,
Oh, you know what I totally forgot to do,
what's
which
that?
is very important. I totally forgot to add the blade.
What, girl? We don't need that.
I know. So let me add the blade. I'm like, why is this not blending? What is going on? So I'm gonna quickly add the blade because that's very important.
Hey, we've all been there. I definitely tried to open my classroom door with a key fob, and it totally just has like a key. So that was fun. So I get it. It's fine.
Oh my. Yes. Oh my goodness. I was blending pulp before this, so that's why I had the blade off.
You're all good.
You
and
know,
I
trying
actually
to be prepared.
Yeah, completely. And I have some, I'm going to do kind of like I'm going to at least experiment because I like to do sort of like every once in a while, just a little different practice while you're blending there, Maria.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can get mine to stick with just these small pieces. Do you have so it's like a little bit thicker. Do you have any experience with like big old chunky pieces, if that works okay?
You know, I have not. To be honest, I have always worked with pulp that has been beaten in a paper making beater just because I am like, it's like coffee, you know, like some people are really picky about their coffee. I'm really picky about my pulp.
I love it.
I'm kind of a pulp snob, so.
I would pulp it. I just I literally was like, oh, the blender. Yes, that's it. Cool. So I'm gonna just see if it works okay. And we're gonna see how it goes. It might work.
I usually use the blender for workshops only just because the kids like to see it blended and turn into something. But when I'm making my own paper or other work, I use the beater.
Perfect.
Not that I have a beater, but just, you know, for teachers who would love to work with a handmade paper, there is a supplier that you can buy pulp already pre-made.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like pulp for you. And that's what I do. I usually, because I don't have, not many people have their own paper making beaters. Those are like really massive machines.
Right.
So anyways, you can see here my pulp.
Yeah. Perfect.
So I didn't beat it for more than a minute. I think it was just like a minute. And if there's like big chunks, like you said, I would just kind of smush them in there and put it, because all of this is going back to the ground anyways, right?
Right,
so
exactly. Yeah,
it's like this is what I love about this process is that who cares what you make and how it looks?
Yeah.
It's gonna go be buried.
Right, exactly.
So it's okay. Anyway, so now that my pulp is not beaten, I'm gonna pour it through this strainer. And I'm going to squeeze the water out. Now, I did try in the past squeezing this pulp with a cheesecloth or with like a cloth.
Okay.
And what I noticed is it squeezed too much of the water. So
I see.
I would rather use a strainer and so that it maintains some of the liquid in there.
Because it needs to still be a little wet for forming, kind of like clay almost.
Exactly. The water is like glue, so we do need some of the water in there still.
And do you ever add any extra like adhesive or mixing with your, I mean, not if you're going to put it in for a seed bomb, I suppose, but like at any other point, do you ever mix anything else in?
I have, yes. So one thing I have not mentioned is, so there are so many additives you can add to pulp for different purposes. And one additive I add all the time, and I keep it by the gallons, is called retention agent, because a lot of people ask me, how do you add color to your pulp? Like if you wanted to use recycled junk mail or white paper or something and you wanted to make it colorful, the only, and if you want to make paper out of it, not seed bombs, but paper, I would not add like coloring through watercolors or liquid watercolors or anything like that, because it is not color fast. The way paper works is made out of a fiber. And so for the fiber to grab onto color, it needs an agent. It needs something to be able to grab the color and maintain it color fast. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I pour with my other pulp. I wanted to actually show you. So these are some that I already pre-pulped. I wanted to show you the difference. This pulp, and I don't know if you can see it too well, but this pulp is made from a paper making beater, and this pulp is blended on just a regular blender. And I want you to see the difference. When I pick this, you can still see the fibers. Can you see the long fibers?
Yeah. That's amazing.
And then when you pick these ones, they're like just crumbling apart, right?
Yeah.
So you can tell that this is going to give you a much higher quality paper. But these fibers, they need, in order to add color to these fibers, they need that agent so that the fiber sticks to the color. It's almost like dyeing with natural dyes or anything like that. You have to prepare the fiber first or add something to it so it sticks to the color. So there are pigments called dispersed pigments that I use for this pulp. This is the way I colored this pulp, is with these dispersed pigments that I added to it with retention agent. Now that is all too technical. You don't need to know any of that for the butterfly seed box. So let me not get carried away with paper making stuff here. So here is my my pulp, and I'm kind of creating like a little warm tones and cool tones, little plates of
very satisfying.
Look how pretty these are.
I love it. Oh my gosh, yes. They're like little Play-Doh chunks.
Yes. And kids, they can just spend like an hour just playing with this.
It's so
they don't even care what they're making. They just want to touch it.
They're like, it doesn't matter.
Touch it.
Just give me it.
All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to these are the trays that we use at school for like different projects. They just keep things in place, and I'm going to use it for this too. They're made of plastic. But you can use anything. I just need a surface to place the butterflies to dry. Does that make sense?
Perfect.
In the past, I used these plastic plates and I just put them outside, which was a very bad decision because then Emmy, my dog, went outside and she saw them all drying out there, and that's why she started to eat them.
Oh,
no. Yeah, so you just have to be careful where you put them to dry.
Oh my gosh, okay. Noted.
Okay, so what I do is I like to just put my cookie cutter first, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a layer first, and people do this in many different ways. Some people add the seeds into the pulp, mix it around, and then put it in. Like that's one way to do it. I'm going to do like one layer of pulp first, and then put the seeds, and then put another layer on top, like sandwiching the seeds.
I like it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm going to start just filling my butterfly with the pulp, so that, and kind of sticking everything together into one whole piece. And just this is what I love about this particular cookie cutter, is such a simple butterfly design that it's easy to work with.
It's like you can't go wrong.
No,
it's gonna work.
All the fingers fit in there, you know. Like when I was doing this one, I was like, how on earth am I gonna fit my thumb in there? You know, like it just does not fit. So I had to use like a paintbrush. Right. And I was like, nope, I'm not gonna have my fourth graders doing that, or my little four-year-old. So there I have my first layer for my butterfly, and then I'm going to add some seeds. And it's up to you how many seeds you want to add. I don't think you need that many, right? Like, you just need a few. So I'm just gonna sprinkle some in there. That's good. I don't know if you can see. I don't know how to zoom into this thing. Did that work?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, here we go. There's the seeds. So there's my seeds. I'm gonna kind of just push them in there a little bit, and then I'm gonna add my second layer. And because I love color. I love to mix all sorts of colors, and my butterflies are gonna be nice and colorful. So I'm gonna be mixing like different pulps together.
Ooh, I love that.
And I'm gonna be just kind of putting the top layer on, making sure that all my little seeds are covered. I don't think the layer should be too thick either, because if you put too much, I don't know that the seeds are going to be able to get out of there,
right?
Like sprouts.
Right.
So
you want to make it
have it like a thin top layer, and just continue to press it um, until everything feels like it's together, like it's not going to come apart when you take the cookie cutter out. So I'm pressing the water out. Some people at this point would like to use like a sponge and to continue to squeeze the water out.
Yeah.
You can do that if you want, but I don't care because I'm just gonna leave them out to dry and they'll dry eventually. It'll just take longer. It'll take like the more water you leave in there, the longer it'll take to dry. So I am going to, I have all the time in the world for these to dry, so I'm not gonna worry about squeezing too much of the water out. Once it's done, you just take it out and look at that beauty. Woo! That is a beautiful butterfly.
I got like a little chocolate chip cookie situation happening over here.
Oh, you know why? Because those are bigger chunks. But it's okay because that's all going into the ground. So
right, exactly.
It's okay. It's okay. I thought it would be so cool to do like an because it was Earth Day like last week.
Yeah.
I wanted to do like an Earth. What do you think? Like
yes,
a little.
Please. Yes, I want to
Earth.
watch this one. Now that I can actually watch the process.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna do the water first, obviously the blue, and again, this blue pulp that I'm using is like the pulp that was beaten in a professional paper, but that doesn't matter. Yeah. That doesn't matter. What matters is the color because we need blue and green. So that's why I was using this pulp because I did not have any blue paper, or I did actually, but not enough.
Not prepared. And now
it's kind of weird working with this with the phone on top of it.
I know, it's strange. You're like, can I see what I'm doing? What's happening? It's very unnatural, but you're doing great, Maria. I was wondering though, you mentioned that you talked about fourth grade. Are there other grade levels that you feel like this is really works well for? Or like what kinds of projects paper making wise have you done with your students?
This particular one is great for anybody.
Sure.
Any age that can touch pulp and play with it, fine. Because you could essentially just grab a ball of pulp, put seeds, and there you go. You have a seed ball. You know what I mean? Like, you don't even have to shape it with a cookie cutter. It's like a kid can roll a sphere, which most can when they're 4 years old, hopefully. Yeah. Although this day, a lot of kids don't know. But if they can do this, right? Yes. You could do it this way. Otherwise, for making paper, that's a little more complicated. It requires a little more tools and a little other equipment, which that is one of the reasons I don't do it too much in my school. The making of the paper, I would prefer to do it in like a workshop scenario with just limited amount of students. Not more than 12. Like I can't handle more than 12 students.
It's a lot of material-based things, and when there's a lot of like process and material going on, that's when it can get a little bit tricky for sure.
Exactly. So
I love the green. Right? This is really cute. I feel like this would also be a pretty good fundraiser, or like you said, an Earth Day project or something that you could do for your school that would be maybe a little bit like, just to focus on our world and recycling.
And using like junk, or there's
which I love.
Yes, there's so many possibilities for this project. And it's fun, and if there's a beautiful sunny day, and people just want to get wet on sunny days, so this is like a perfect activity for a hot day. So there is my little Earth.
I love it.
Does not look like any country that exists currently, but that's okay.
India.
And there it is.
I love
it. Beautiful Earth bomb.
Oh my god.
So there's two examples. Let's see if I can zoom out. There we go.
They're amazing. I love it so much. And thank you for showing us the kind of process behind actually creating that pulp too, because that can feel a little intimidating. Yes. Speaking from a person that did like a poor man's pulp situation, like appreciate your help to take away a little bit of that like fear from just like get it going. Yes. Don't overthink it.
If you have a blender, you have paper and water, you can do it. You can do it, and there's no mistakes, right? Like, there's no room for mistakes.
I love it.
If it all falls apart, just pour the whole thing into the ground. Like, it's okay.
Just pour it in and don't think about it. I love it. Yes. Well, Maria, can you join us with your beautiful face so that we can kind
All right.
End our session. Friends, if you have made anything with us today and you want to share it with us, go ahead and tag the Art of Ed and Maria so that she can see what you have created. And if you have any questions regarding paper making, she's your expert. I feel like you are going to be ready to answer any and all questions that people have. So feel free to reach out to her. Maria, where can they tag you or follow along on your adventures?
I have 2 Instagram accounts. One is focused on my student teaching with my K through 8 students. And then the other one's focused on my practice, on my art practice. Mm-hmm. And so one of them, I think the one that I'm on right now is my art practice one, Amalia Wood. The one that's for my class is called Art Lab Class, I believe. And that one is linked under my bio as well, so you can follow both if you want. And you can send me messages. Yeah.
Perfect. I will share both of those after the fact, and I'll share if you're interested in any more recycled resources or paper making. There are a few fun things from the Art of Ed you can share and check out, as well as so many amazing places to find paper making and incorporate that into your studio practice or your classroom.
Yes,
Maria,
yes.
Thank you.
Good resource for
much.
paper making. Before we end, a good resource if you want to know more is, I think it's called Paper Slurry. Paper Slurry. Full of resources.
Instagram?
It's a blog, I believe. I think it's a blog or a website. Paper Slurry. And it's full of like how to make your own mold decal to it's just wonderful resource. Yeah.
Amazing. Perfect. Thank you for that shout out too. And thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure. What a great happy Monday. And I can't wait to get my little seed bomb in the ground and see what happens. Yay.
Yes.
All right, Maria.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you, sweet friend. We will see you guys next week and have a great Monday.
Bye.